We could start the meeting, Carol, seeing as we're doing the Fair Housing Board first. What was that?
We can probably do that.
Yeah. Okay. I'll call the January 18 Fair Housing Board meeting to order. Due to COVID-19 concerns and social distancing recommendations, this meeting will be open to the public by electronic means only. Iowa Section 21.8 outlines the guidelines to hold an electronic meeting when there are valid concerns that an in-person meeting is impossible or impractical. You can get us on Facebook via the City of Webster City. Otherwise, Zoom and etc. Anyway, roll call.
Caitlin Hartman,
Here.
John Hawkins.
Here.
Matt McKinney,
Here.
Brian Miller,
Here.
Logan Welch.
Here.
Call for motion to approve the agenda, I guess.
So moved.
Second, Brian.
All those in favor say aye.
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 I didn't catch who made that motion.
Brian.
Second.
Second.
You push around the house.
Logan and Brian.
Okay.
Item 1 is motion on minutes of January 20th, 2020. So a call for motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
So moved.
Second, Logan.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Excuse me.
Item 2 is a motion to elect a chairperson and vice chairperson. Normally it's the mayor and mayor pro tem. Okay, so call for motion. Would you like to change that?
So moved.
Second, Logan.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 3 is a motion on appointment by the chairperson of the investigating committee and such other officers as the board may decide, as provided by the Code of Ordinances of the City of Webster City, Iowa, 2019, Chapter 28, Article 2, Section 28-27. That we have the city manager, the city clerk, and the planning director on that board. The call for motion for that.
I move to approve, Logan.
Second, Brian.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Are there any other matters to come before the Fair Housing Board? I think we do this once a year. So far, anyway, we haven't had a reason to meet yet. Okay, item 5 is adjourn Fair Housing Board meeting. Call for a motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Move to adjourn, Brian.
I'll second, Logan.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Okay, so we'll go roll call to go into the regular city council meeting for January 18. Call for motion to approve. Oh, sorry, roll call.
Roll call. Okay. Hartman,
Here.
Hawkins.
Yeah.
McKinney,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Welch.
Here.
Call for motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. This is Matt.
Second, Brian.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
allegiance
flag
To the flag.
of the
To the
United
flag
States of America,
of the United States of
to the
America,
republic,
to the republic
republic
for which it
For
stands,
which it
One
one
stands,
nation,
One nation.
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under
God,
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 indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty and
with
justice.
with liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Okay, item A, petitions, communications and requests. This is the time of the meeting that a citizen may address the council on a matter not on the agenda. No more than 5 minutes per person. Except in case of emergency, the city council will not take any action at this meeting, but may ask city staff to research the matter or have the matter placed on the agenda for a future meeting. Anyone have any public information at all? No one out there? Not too many on tonight. Okay. So we'll move on. B, minutes and claims. The following items have been deemed non-controversial routine actions to be approved by the council in a single motion. If a council member or the member of the audience wishes to have an item removed from its list, be considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. I have item 1 as minutes of January 4th, 2021. Item 2 is a resolution on payroll for period ending January 2nd of 2021 and paid on January 8th, 2021. And item 3 is a resolution on bills and the fund list.
Move to approve collectively.
Second, Logan.
All those in favour say aye.
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 aye,
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. C, general agenda. First item on the thing is a presentation by Williams and Company, PC, on the 2019-2020 City of Webster City audit. So welcome, Justin.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Do you want me to share my screen? I mean, to see the audit report is,
Yes, please, for those that haven't got the report, I guess.
can everyone see that?
Not yet.
Not yet.
The operator error.
Okay.
Yep.
You see financial or opinion anyways?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So thank you everyone for accommodating me in this strange time we're living in. This is going to be high level. If you have questions, I'll do my best to answer them. I might not have the answers in front of me, but Dodie has my contact information, or you can give me a call tomorrow, anytime. I'll do whatever I can to help you guys out or answer some questions. But I'm going to get started here then. This is page 2 of the audit report. This is opinion, and this is where we're saying the financial statements are fairly presented for the city of Webster City for the year ended 6/30/2020. I want to point out there's an emphasis of matter paragraph here, and what that is related to is during our audit, there were some procedures we did that should have been recorded in. We identified some transactions that should have been recorded in FY19. It was some land that was not recorded for $22,000, and then there was some sewer CIP, construction in progress, or CIP, that we also found that we basically did a prior period adjustment. So that's what the emphasis of matter paragraph is there. Any questions on that? Next, I'm going to jump ahead here. I'm going to go to the fund level financial statements. Everyone can see that all right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so I wanted to point out the general fund. That's where a lot of the city operations are handled, outside of the enterprise or utility funds. But I wanted to point out one thing, we look at is unassigned fund balance. And if you look at the total expenses for FY20 in the general fund for the city of Webster City and take that divided by 365 days, that came to around $11,500 per day to operate the city, or the transactions that occurred in the general fund. The unassigned fund balance, if you take the cost per day and put that into the $4 million, basically there's approximately 355 days of unassigned fund balance sitting there that could operate the city or operate the city's general fund, let's say. So I typically recommend, you probably want 90 to 120 days because that gets you into property tax time or gets you close to it. So, the unassigned fund balance is very healthy or solid, I would say, for the city of Webster City. I do think it's a balancing act. I mean, you need to budget for the future and weather storms and so forth at times. But I also think a city has to be careful. Any governmental entity needs to be careful because I don't think the sole objection should be to, sit on cash as well. So, but anyways, that's what's in the unassigned fund balance right now for the general fund. Any questions on that? Then I want to point out, there's a couple more funds on here. The 2020 Second Street construction, you see a lot of cash sitting in there right now, approximately 3.8 million. That's really mostly, or a chunk of it's going to be like bond proceeds that were issued during FY20. There was $4.1 million. Dodie, correct me if I'm wrong, jump in anytime, but there's $4.1 million that was issued that was used for this construction project or being used currently for that construction project. And then also, if you look, Brewer Creek Estates, that has a negative, we call it negative unassigned fund balance, negative fund balance. So there's more liabilities than there are assets at the fund level. Basically Brewer Creek will be repaid as lots are sold and with TIF dollars that are generated, in that area. So, right now there's a negative unassigned fund balance, but over time, obviously, I feel like that will head the other way. It just takes time when you're talking about, residential developments and so forth. Questions on that? Then I'm going to jump to the enterprise funds, the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net assets. Also look at it kind of like the income statement for the city here. Bear with me. All right, so I wanted to look at the operating income here. So between the three utility funds, there was operating income of approximately $835,000. Then there's some non-operating transactions that occur that brings it down to income of around $492,000 between the three. The operating income up above here, all three of the entities or utilities were positive. So I mean, that's a good thing. The fees generated are covering the operating expenses. Under electric, there's one transaction that I feel is significant and we need to just talk about or show anyways. And that is the bad debt expense. You can see there's around $1 million of bad debt expense reported on FY20. And what that is made up of is there was a receivable to Drive Tech, I believe is the name of the entity. And this was many years ago, but this would have been like I'll call it an economic development loan that was made again years ago, but that I'll call it cleaned up, I guess, on the city side as far as written off. Also in there is some Webster City daycare, Riverview daycare interest that was also written off because there was a negotiation that occurred to change the agreement with those receivables. So that's what the $1 million of bad debt expense is. Not something that the city has every year and I don't expect it, every year to have that kind of bad debt expense. The Drive Tech writing that off, I think, is a good thing. So, but yeah, that's just one thing that was different than let's say last year in the electric fund. Any questions on that? All right, then I'm going to jump ahead here. Smart enough. So this is the budget to actual, and this is the start of the budget to actual. So you got your receipts, actual receipts. We got actual disbursements on here by function. You got your public safety, public works, and so forth. On the next page, then, there's budget amounts noted. And then over here is any variances. So anytime you see a negative in the disbursement area here, I think this is public safety would be the first one. So there was more spent than what was budgeted by approximately $105,000. Same with community economic development, around $8,000 over budget. And then business type activities came in over budget. So you just got to, you want to make sure you amend, the right functions. I can tell you, working, with a lot of different governments and being very familiar with governmental accounting, it's harder than it looks as far as catching all of, making sure that you don't exceed what is budgeted, because there's a lot of moving pieces that are going on. But just want to point that out. I don't want to say it's not all right, but it's not uncommon for government entities to have this or have this finding have this finding, let's say, as far as exceeding what was budgeted on the disbursement side. Any questions there? And then the last thing I just want to quickly talk about is the finding. We had a internal control finding that we call a material weakness. We've had this for a number of years. And, basically when the auditor comes in and does their procedures to make sure the financial statements are fairly stated, if we have to propose a journal entry, we are going to have a finding. So the standards, the bar is very high with the standards we follow. We're looking for perfection when it comes to governmental financial statements and not proposing any adjustments to our clients. And it's very hard. Most of our engagements, most of our audits, we have this finding in there because, again, we're proposing adjustments to correct the financial statement. So again, we had a material weakness noted for financial reporting based off of journal entries that we proposed to the city of Webster City. And we're working with Doty to get better every year and decrease the journal entries that we propose. But again, it's very challenging. There's a lot of different transactions that occur. There's a lot of different funds. It's very challenging. So any questions? All right. Again, I appreciate everyone's time and working with me to present the audit report this way. Any questions after the meeting, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I'll do my best to get them answered. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks very much, Justin.
Thank you.
Yep. Have a good night.
Good night.
I'll try to stop sharing my screen here too. Figure it out. Oh, boy.
There.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks, Justin.
Thanks.
You bet.
Sorry, I didn't
Thank you.
realize I was muted. Okay. Item 1A is a motion accepting and placing on file the 2019-2020 City of Webster City Audit. Call for motion.
So moved, Brian.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 2 is a presentation update by RDG Planning and Design on the new comprehensive plan. Welcome, Charlie and Marty.
Thank you, Mayor
Thank you.
Hahn and Council. I will share my screen as well here, and hopefully it goes just as smoothly here. So hopefully you're seeing a PowerPoint introduction slide. We just wanted to take some time this evening to give you an update on where we're at with the comprehensive plan update. We've had the opportunity to talk with several of you last year in some listening sessions to kind of kick off the process, and we're looking to kind of wrap up the planning process here this spring. So wanted to give you an update where we're at before you start seeing some drafts and documents get published for public review. Let's see if this goes here. There we go. So as you probably know, Marty, my colleague Marty Schukert and myself, Charlie Cow are with RDG Planning and Design. I'm based in Des Moines, Iowa, Marty in Omaha. And we've been working with Carla and Lindsay here for the past many months on update to the housing plan, update to the comprehensive plan and annexation study as well. So with the comprehensive plan process, we're kind of getting towards the last few stages of the project. We're in the point right now of making refinements to some concepts and ideas we've been developing over the past several months, and with input from the community as well, and starting to get those kind of more finalized into a format to present to the public. Here we are, January. We met with the Planning and Zoning Commission last week and gave them a similar update. So if any of you tuned into that, this is going to be a similar update that we gave to them. We do have planned later in February to hold a public open house, likely in a virtual format, to kind of get some input on some of the concepts we'll be showing. But really, just kind of want to start with why a comprehensive plan for Webster City. You do currently have a comprehensive plan. It was completed in 2013, so this is an update to that plan. But really, if I'm sure all of you have had the chance to work with the plan and use it in your decision making in the past, it's really a kind of shared vision for the future, guiding you to make land use decisions on rezonings and in site plan developments and also long-term planning as well. It can help inform things like the capital improvements projects and things like that going forward. The organization of the plan won't be terribly different than it is today in terms of the chapter titles. It will look a lot different as far as graphics and visually appealing, but here you can see kind of the outline of what will be included in the plan. Really everything that makes Webster City a city at some form will be included in the plan and detailed with objectives and action statements for the next 20 years. We are being guided by a steering committee of local citizens and representatives in Webster City. We've been meeting with them throughout the project so far. And they've been providing comments and directions and corrections where needed throughout the process. As I mentioned at the beginning, we've completed a survey of the community as well as about a dozen or so listening sessions with folks from across the community. Like I said, some of you were able to participate in those, and we did do those virtual, and they worked out really great, and some really good conversations during those meetings. I'm not going to get into terrible detail, but I wanted to go over some of the survey results we've heard, and this is posted on the project website as well, planningwc.com. But just wanted to give the highlights of some of the high-level things related to various topics. Here you can see on the screen is items related to transportation and walking and bicycling in Webster City. And we really just asked people, how would you rate Webster City in regards to transportation or walking and biking? And you can see here in this example, the top rated items and also the kind of bottom rated, those rating below average, those items on the bottom there. So in regards to transportation, you can see access to Highway 20, north-south corrections, things like that tended to rank high. Things like maintaining streets and access to employment centers tended to rank below average. When we look at walking and bicycling, we actually see some interesting things that reiterate throughout the survey. Connectivity to trails and sidewalks and paths all tended to rate better. Kind of below average, you can see here access to employment, bicycle friendliness and such, but the percentages are quite low, 30% and below generally for those rating below average. So really not a lot of people thinking a lot of the walking and bicycling facilities are really far below average. Here you can see regards to economic development and community image and values. This is something that was kind of one of the impetus for the plan itself, and a lot of the focus that we're focusing on in the plan, as well as this economic development, downtown improvements, and attracting employees. Here you can see the rankings of below average. So that is a big focus and opportunity we're working on in the plan. And then the same for image and values. You can see downtown ranking lower as well. Housing, we did complete a housing update last summer, which is going to be fully incorporated into the plan, but we used some of this information to inform updates to that housing study. One thing we've heard in almost every conversation or survey response is people are very, very happy with the Parks and Recreation system in Webster City. Obviously, there's improvements to be made as growth occurs and as we continue to move to new development areas. But you can see the responses here for above average. Really, nothing was warranted to put on here for below average rankings. It was very minimal when we asked about Parks and Recreation. And then lastly, just kind of the top out the summary of the survey, we asked a general question of what are Webster City's greatest assets? And like I said, you can see Parks and Outdoor Rec was #1 rated when asked that question. And as far as top priorities, growing local businesses, strengthening downtown, and more diverse industries, which reflects really what we heard throughout our conversations as well. So now I just wanted to transition into kind of showing you kind of where we're at with the future land use map and some development concepts. So we start by kind of understanding a potential growth rate for Webster City. We're using the information from a housing study update to inform the kind of potential growth for the next 20 years or so, and translating that into an acreage amount of land that is needed. So population growth means places for people to live, perhaps more market demand for different commercial uses, and industrial growth as well. And really what that gets us to is identifying where these growth acreages need to occur or are feasible to occur at. And so we started focusing on kind of the 7 items here to start planning around. And like I said, downtown was kind of our #1 focus. Housing opportunities, some of the character of existing areas like Superior Street, continuing to advance trail connections throughout the community into different parks, and then obviously industrial and commercial growth around Highway 20. So here you can see where we're at with the draft future land use map. It's really from many aspects not all that different from the future land use map today, although it is more detailed and provides more information on road connections and various other development concepts. But we'll go into a little detail on some of these new areas. When we look at the areas that are not existing today, it looks something like this. You can see the areas that would be considered growth areas in the plan. The kind of dark green here is greenway or more or less the floodplain areas that we wouldn't want to be developing in. So we've identified that on the map just for more or less for reference and to make sure that we're not planning growth areas in those areas. But you can see the coloration here. The yellow is generally your single family, low density neighborhoods, much like neighborhoods in Webster City today. The orangish color might include some areas with duplexes, maybe townhouses or smaller lot residential. The brown is higher density like apartment complexes or more compact development. Red is commercial, blue is civic areas, and green is park space, which actually I think I have the wrong map on here. I should switch that out for that area down there. So just kind of quickly wanted to go through some of the priority growth areas. Here you can see an area that zoomed in on the west of, we call it the west area north of Wall Street. And really this is kind of a continuation of what you've already planned. There are many street stubs ready for extensions out here in this area. And it's really extending those streets as demand and market forces continue to develop the new neighborhoods in these areas. The land is suitable for residential development. We do have some variation in density here around kind of existing apartment complexes and different services out here. But really, yeah, just making sure those neighborhoods are planned for this area and the road connections are in place as well. We do show kind of proposed road systems here. You can see the dotted red and orange lines. And that's really indicating not necessarily the exact locations of where those roads will be, but just indicating there should be a connection either north and south or east and west somewhere within these developments. Obviously, engineering studies and such will determine where the exact road layout would go. If we kind of zoom into what one of those potential neighborhoods could look like, this is zooming in on the orange shaded area here, just north of Wall Street. It shows a possibility, again, just a concept of what a typical neighborhood might look like with low density residential, single family housing, maybe some medium density duplex type development, and perhaps more apartment or multifamily development kind of buffering from existing apartment complexes as well. Obviously, the street network connections are important, just like you're developing existing neighborhoods today. This concept does show a trail kind of going through, and the idea of a greenway or parkway that could go through new neighborhoods and create kind of opportunities for trails and such. So just a concept kind of to illustrate what the big bubbles mean on the future land use map. If we move that south, this is more of the same, south of Wall Street, excuse me. There is a greenway running through here, but continuing that neighborhood development and along Highway 20, maybe getting some more denser type of developments with apartments and such that would buffer Highway 20 from neighborhoods. And you can see the road connection that was shown before, as well as a trail connection as well. When we move south of Highway 20, again, I apologize, I have the wrong map in here. This should be, number 2 should be purple for industrial growth, and the 3 should be the new wastewater treatment plant location. But this is not really that different from your future land use map today. We retain kind of planned commercial areas here west of the interchange. And industrial expansion east of the interchange. The last area that's kind of a new, quote unquote, new growth area is sort of already a growth area with the Edgewood subdivision. Really filling that out is going to provide a lot of housing needs, fill some housing demand and population growth accommodated in that area. When the wastewater plant does move, there's an opportunity for reuse of that site, probably recreation or open space being the priority use for that area, just because a lot of it is in the floodplain, and river access is right there and would be a good amenity. One thing we did want to kind of drill into a little bit more this evening, and feel free to ask questions throughout, but we wanted to show you some ideas we had for downtown as far as some potential enhancements. Obviously, a lot of the things are going to be more qualitative programming and policy items for the downtown area, building on the strategic plan that was done a couple of years ago. But we wanted to show you some of the physical, tangible things that maybe could be done as well to improve different aspects of downtown. So we've actually been focusing on several sites we call kind of potential sites for change, and different connections between pocket parks, and then kind of parking areas and how those are used in downtown today, and if there are opportunities for different types of uses. In fact, one of those areas we call rear areas here, shaded here, we were discussing with our steering committee last week, and we had this idea of kind of a shelter area that could still accommodate parking, but it would also be a shelter for things like farmers markets or vendors for special events to back up into. And so we showed a concept to them with that. You can see this purple shaded structure here. I'm going to flip back and forth real quick. We actually determined with our steering committee, it's probably better suited over here in the location to the west, where there's more direct connection, not just to the park downtown, but perhaps less use of parking area that would be needed. But here's kind of a couple of the sites shown on that map. One, this is on Wilson and Seneca, kind of between Wilson and Seneca, and you can see 2nd Street here. But again, this kind of shade structure would still allow parking during non-event times, but during events it could be utilized for shaded areas for different types of activities or vendor spaces. We do have our showing, and we've talked with our steering committee about this. This is still kind of draft, just an idea and things we're not sure will make the final plan yet, but reuse of a parking area between Wilson and Seneca for some denser housing development, and then potential commercial space, tenant space as well on the corner of Wilson Street. So an opportunity to kind of infuse some housing into the downtown area and also fill a need that the housing study identified as well.
I would add, Charlie, that there are some other sites that near downtown, for example, along Superior Street, that could be opened up for residential as well. But one real benefit in downtown development is getting people living in downtown or around downtown. So we keep looking for those opportunities because they really enliven the district. The idea of a market shelter really has been a very popular one in a lot of places, and we really do like that site adjacent to the senior center that's related to Hy-Vee. It's a place that people are used to for that function. And a really cool thing is the connection to the Elks Building and the garden next to it. So we've already begun to develop some new ideas for that I think are going to be pretty interesting to look at.
Yeah, and you can see an example here of what that is. Like I said, it would take out a little bit of parking, but it would still retain much of parking. But you can imagine in an event, obviously blocking or restricting parking along this. If it's a farmer's market, they could back up their equipment here facing the structure, or even special events like food truck day or something where they could pull up. And this becomes a protected area from the sun, or kind of a gathering alley as people cycle through to look at vendors or buy things, or whatever it may be. It could really be any event. Relatively simple but effective way to kind of create a space in what is potentially a more underutilized space right now. Another site transitioning from downtown, just for I know we want to keep our time kind of in check here, but we've been looking in detail at the old hospital site north of Brewer Creek Park as a potential site for a lot of different things we've discussed with our committee and with the community. We have one idea shown here, and again, this is not an exhaustive or final idea, but one of probably several options we'll show in the plan. But here is an option for a residential type use of that site with some single family and multifamily homes and trail system staying connected to the park. One thing we have heard extensively from many different people is retaining the views of the park from kind of the hill on this site, not just for aesthetics, but also for things like sledding and activities that are currently happening there today. So this is tried to accommodate that by kind of bumping out the development a little and providing a public space area where folks can continue to do those sorts of activities.
I'm thinking, we're thinking that a better idea is going to be to really treat the center of the site as a park, so that it brings the open space up to Ohio Street, and then to think about housing development around that, so it becomes a little bit more like an urban square. You get some development out of it, and the other really good thing is that it puts housing along a park, which is always good from a marketing point of view, and good from a security point of view too. So I think that's that was a great suggestion that came out of the steering committee as well, and I think has really good possibilities.
So we have other ideas that are other concepts too we've been working on before I kind of jump to our last slide, questions and priorities. We do have I didn't include it in here, but we are focusing on Superior Street as well, as Marty had mentioned earlier, for possible, well, a lot of possibilities. One, kind of the just general aesthetics and functionality of the pedestrian environment, crossing enhancements for safety, especially along the trail areas that connect to the trail system, as well as potential infill sites for new businesses or reuse of those businesses. So that is another focus included in the plan, as well as, just like I mentioned before, and we didn't show here, the citywide trail system, making sure that extends with development, but also finding ways to connect that to existing resources like Kendall Young Park. Those are big focuses that will be included in the plan as well. But do want to open it up if anyone has any questions or priorities or other things you saw that we're missing that we should know about as we move forward. If not, we are posting a lot of our updates on the project website, planningwc.com. I don't think this latest presentation that we showed you today is up there quite yet. We have some old previous renditions of concepts up there, but we will be posting things as we develop them, and obviously information for the general public to participate in some of our open houses later here in the next month or two as well.
Okay.
We do appreciate the opportunity as well, and like I said, it's an exciting project. Of course, we've been working through the webinars and virtual formats and that this year, and we think it's gone really well. The community's been very open to the virtual format. I think partly in effect of a lot of the other things you're already doing virtually has made people very comfortable with it. So thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Marty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on, item 3, recommend approval of issuance of a beer and liquor licenses by the Iowa Department of Commerce for the following. A is a renewal of a Class C beer permit, Class B wine permit, and Sunday sales for Dollar General Store number 2421 at 814 Superior Street. B is a renewal of a Class E liquor license, Class B wine permit, Class C beer permit, and Sunday sales for Casey's General Store number 054 700 Superior Street. And C is an addition on Sunday sales to current license LA 000957 for American Legion Post number 191 at 726 2nd Street. Call for a motion.
So moved, Brian.
I'll second. It's Logan.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 4 is a resolution on the appointment of a representative and alternate representative to the Hamilton County Solid Waste Commission. We had Jerry Clavinetz had to step down because he's one of our new supervisors, well, our new supervisor. So, and Brian put his name up. So if that's okay with everybody. Call for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 5 is a resolution approving change order number 4 to the 2020 713 2nd Street facade project with Westbrook Construction of Urbandale, Iowa. Lindsay?
So this change order is for the large windows in the front. We knew we were going to replace the one that was not original, had the aluminum split frame, but then decided to go ahead and do both windows so that they would look consistent and new like the rest of the windows in the building. So that's what this change order was. I actually should have gone through the last meeting, but I missed it. And so now it's on this meeting.
Call for a motion to approve the change order number 4.
So moved, Brian.
Second, Logan.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 6 is a resolution approving the commitment of matching funds for an application for funding to the Iowa Economic Development Authority Community Catalyst Building Remediation Program for the remediation of 713 2nd Street, Webster City, Iowa. So this is for the Elks building as well. Lindsay?
Sure. So the Iowa Economic Development Authority, this will be, I think, the 4th year of doing the Community Catalyst grants. They're up to $100,000, but typically are $100,000 grants. They're only available to communities that are not Main Street communities, because Main Street communities have access to what they call the challenge grants, which are $75,000 grants, and they can apply for as many of those as they want. But the Iowa Economic Development Authority and the Downtown Resource Center sees that restoring and retaining our historic buildings on our Main Street specifically is something that's important to the economic vitality of our communities. I've known and planned to be applying for this grant for some time. They have gotten a little bit more strict. They are now requiring a city match. They don't say how much, but it is required. And they also want to know that some construction can begin within the 2-year time period that the project's ready to go. To that point, when it comes to the Elks building, obviously, the facade work is wrapping up, but there's still all of the interior rehabilitation that needs to be done. So this would be phase 2 of the project. Lift WC is, we've had fundraisers and done some and gotten some grants and donations in, but there's an application in right now to enhance Hamilton County. We have RDG Design Engineering helping us prepare for the forms for the historic tax credits. They call it funding lasagna. It's gonna take a lot of different grants and tax credits and donations and things to reach that goal. I did send you just some renderings. If you'd like, I can share screen and show what RDG has come up with for an estimated budget and floor plans. But I mean, what they're estimating right now is a little over 2.2 million for the full restoration of the interior. So this $100,000 grant is just one little drop in the bucket, and but still vital and continues to give the project momentum. The scoring with the grant, one area that the building is a little bit weak is that there's not going to be any sort of second-story housing that earns you quite a bit of points in this project. So a sizable match from the city could help bump up and make the difference in that. Otherwise, several different communities have similar types of buildings, some smaller, some larger, but the idea of having the event venue, the commercial spaces, knowing, we've had Jim Thompson from IEDA, who actually runs this program in our building, taking a look at it, and he thinks it's a valid project for the Catalyst grant. He likes that we plan to have commercial tenants, so it does put some money onto the tax rolls. And
Lindsay,
yes,
I think it'd be a good idea to share your screen for the public.
okay, I can do that. Hang on. Okay, and I'll start. Can you? Oh, what are you seeing right now?
Yep, that's the design for
You
each
see the
floor.
design. Okay, good. Okay, so right here, yeah, these are the floor plan designs. So the basement, things are kind of rearranged. The bathrooms have been moved to the center. I want to point out on the rear of the building is now where the elevator, originally we talked about having an elevator on the west side on the garden. That was the design the students came up with. The professionals here, RDG, where there's that existing concrete abutment, that would come out, and a 3-story elevator that goes down to the basement and up to the top floor with kind of a lobby area would be added onto the back. And so you would come in into this lobby area and then get on the elevator, which to get to that first floor would just come up a few feet and bring you into this, into the hallway there. But that gives us full access and usability for the building. So there's no level that would not be ADA compliant. And all the flow of traffic on each level is kept on that east side of the building, allowing for maximum space on the west half of the building. So on the main floor there, the middle image, nothing really significant changes there. The original footprint of the building was meant for multiple uses and spaces. So we don't have any significant plans for changes other than adding on that elevator. Yeah, I think that's really it. And just like using some of these interior rooms for support, storage, and mechanicals. So it'll just be a matter of really fixing up the finishes there and retaining the historical integrity of the space. And then on the top room, we would actually kind of reconfigure the bathrooms, add a catering prep kitchen space, and some additional storage and stage support room, but have the most flooring available for the ballroom space, kind of some overflow back here by the lobby. And then of course the stage. So that's not a huge change, but we do lose some of the footprint by making those bathrooms large enough and adding this additional kind of kitchen area on the west wall. So let's see, I will go to the rendering so people can see that. Everybody likes to see the images. So this is one of them. This is looking really at that front entrance there, the front lobby. So like I said, nothing's really changed here, but we're seeing the building, with the woodwork restored, the wood floors all restored, the tin ceilings repainted. And then here's the top floor ballroom, keeping everything in nice neutral colors, but with the historically appropriate lighting and the ceilings, of course. You can see the stage over there to the right, kind of have a little bar type area set up in the back. And that would be, the elevators would be back there around the corner, along with the access to the restrooms. And this would be the front west room, or we call the fireplace room. And so we really wanted to keep it non-specific. At this point, we haven't really specifically courted any potential businesses, but just wanted to be able to show this as a warm, comfortable, and inviting gathering space. Hang on a second here. And really quick here is just, I can't really show everything at once, but I'll just slowly scroll through some of their cost estimates. So we have to rip out the old electrical and mechanical and plumbing. The elevators, surprisingly, was not as expensive as we thought it might be. There's having the walls, the elevator extension. So we're gonna have to build up the exterior elevator will have mason walls so that it matches the rest of the building and doesn't take away from its appearance. The elevator itself here at $65,000, they've added in fire suppression expenditures, equipment, and then plumbing, electrical. So you can see here is that 2.2 or a little more, almost 2.3 million in probable expenses. Now that includes some sizable contingencies, both for the design and construction standpoint, and contractor overhead. and we already have had some talk with some contractors or some different sources that there might be some in-kind labor. When putting together all the numbers and knowing about, things like the CAT grant, which will, after you reach 65% of funding, is kind of a last dollar in program that the Briggs Woods Conference Center took advantage of. We also have the historic tax credits, the state ones, that's 25% of the project. Hotel motel, Enhance Hamilton County, this Catalyst grant. After you layer all those things together, this rather large number starts to become more attainable. At that point, we're really only looking at somewhere between 500 to 750,000 in private donations. And we have people that have been kind of waiting for us to reach the stage to have this sort of renderings and cost estimates in line that are eager to donate and support the project. So, if you look at it as a 2 or 3 year timeline from today, where we stand right now, certainly Webster City has taken on as large or larger projects in the past. So we feel confident that this will, be a success. And really, the feedback that we've gotten and the support from the community has been very strong, and it meets the definition of this particular grant because we do believe that it'll be a catalyst for the downtown, that it will provide the sort of events and activity and life in the building that will help draw people to the downtown.
When would you require, would it be in next year's budget or would it be in this year's budget?
So we have 2 years to draw the funds from the state to complete the project from the application. So right now at this time, January 29th is the deadline for the pre-application. And then if we're invited, the full application is due in April. The award itself is announced in late June, early July. And so then from there, you'd have the 2 year time period.
Anyone else have any questions for Lindsay?
No, thanks, Lindsay. I think the images really helped.
It does always seem to help really get your mind around what we're trying to accomplish. So thank you. I think they did a very nice job.
Okay. So I guess call for a motion.
So moved, Brent.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
Thank you very
Item
much.
7. Thank you, Lindsay. Item 7 is a motion on Planning and Zoning Commission minutes of January 11th, 2021. Call for motion.
So moved.
Brent.
Second, Matt.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 8 is a resolution accepting and approving the minor subdivision plat of Lynn Addition for Hamilton County, Iowa. Carla, another building.
This is a subdivision that's located outside of the corporate limits, but within the 2 mile jurisdiction. It is south on 17, and it contains about 2 acres of land, and it will be the location for a new dwelling. Everything's been reviewed on the plan. It's in proper format to be approved. Documents are ready to go, so P&Z approved it last Monday night.
Okay. So call for motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 9 is a resolution setting a time and place for a public hearing on a proposed offer to buy city-owned property located in Broadway Street in Webster City, Iowa, for 313 Broadway Street for February 1st at 6:05 p.m. Shall we have another Another lot to get rid of, Carla, so
Yeah, this
that's
is
always
one,
good.
yeah, this is one that we went out for bids on. And we got one bid at $3,000. So now we need to proceed with approving the purchase agreement and executing a deed.
Okay, thank you. Call for a motion.
So
So
moved.
moved, Brian.
Second, Logan.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 10 is a resolution on extension of amended leave policy during COVID-19 emergency for the city of Webster City, Iowa. I mean, we could have Beth explain it to, I guess, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Does anybody need Beth to?
Are there any questions?
We're just extending it out to March, right?
Till March 31st, correct?
Okay.
Okay. Bill, call for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second, Brian.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 11 is a resolution accepting work authorising payment of final estimate in the amount of $0 now, with the final retainage in the amount of $54,073.32 paid in 30 days to Primaris Avenia Incorporated of Johnston, Iowa, for the completion of the 2018-2019 electrical underground conversion project. Ken, I guess you wanted to say anything on that?
It's pretty straightforward. Completion of that underground project, the first part that we hired out to try and catch up. So this is now being finalized out.
Okay. Call for motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Where are we at? Item 12 is resolution authorising the mayor and city clerk to enter into a task order amendment number 2 for professional services with DGO Engineering of Rock Rapids, Iowa, providing for an electrical system study in the amount not to exceed $23,500. Ken, are you talking on that one?
Yes, I can. DGR, if you remember, is the firm that is doing our electrical rate study. So as along with the rate study, we felt that it was advantageous for us to have them do the kind of like capital improvement, long range plan for the electrical system. That hasn't been done for quite a few years, probably 80s or 90s is when the last one was done. This is going to be probably critical for us, as everyone knows that electric cars may come on the scene. What does that do to our electric system? Because now you are charging these vehicles along with, if that happens to take place with trucks, that really changes the whole dynamics of it. Also, solar panels. How does that affect our standby systems? How does that affect our supply and those types of things? So really think that this is a critical piece that the electrical utility needs to take a look at. And they're gonna take a look at it and give us a long-range plan and to, complete the study.
Okay. We'll call for motion.
So moved, Brian.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 13 is a resolution awarding agreement for the 2021 asphalt joint crack seal project for Fort Dodge Asphalt Company of Fort Dodge, Iowa, in the amount of $86,086. Over to you again, Ken.
It's pretty straightforward. It's sealing cracks in asphalt. We do so much of this a year, try to do so much of it. It's a maintenance issue that we try to keep up on.
Okay. Call for a motion.
So moved.
So moved. A second.
Whatever, either way.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 14 is a resolution authorising the mayor and city clerk to enter into an amendment number 15 to the on-call engineering services agreement with Snyder and Associates Incorporated of Ankeny, Iowa, providing for engineering services for the 2021 bridge repairs project. Ken?
If you looked at the memo, this is to address some issues on Overpass Drive Bridge, which passes over the CNN Railroad. We're going to have the street closed, so we felt that it was excellent time to do the repairs on this particular bridge. Also, Second Street Bridge over the Boone River needs some repairs. Those gird ends and bearings need to be cleaned and painted. We don't want to let this bridge go and get to a point where it really becomes expensive or we have to close the bridge. So, and it's not to that point, don't get me wrong, it's not to that point by any means now, but we need to keep up on the maintenance.
Okay. Thanks, Ken. Call for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 15 is a motion on request from the street department supervisor to purchase a set of 4 mobile column lifts, shop hoists with accessories from Sturtle Coney Midwest Lift through Sourcewell in the amount of $56,168.03. So, Brandon, you want to get a lift?
Yeah, so this is just to replace the current lift that we have for our new shop. These mobile lifts are getting pretty popular and common, give you a lot more space when you're not using them, but also when you're using them. They're very handy little piece of equipment. And with the new shop, it's gonna work nice. So that's just something we got coming in, and with a new mechanic on the way here, maybe in a couple months, and our mechanic now, they're really gonna enjoy these.
Okay. Call for a motion.
So moved. Logan.
Second, Brian.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Is that you, Caitlin?
Yeah.
That was Ken.
Not funny.
Item 16 is a resolution authorising the mayor and city clerk to enter into a 3-year agreement with J. Petticourt Incorporated of Bondurant, Iowa, for tree grinding services in the amount of $14,500 per year. Ken?
This is for grinding of the brush site down at the street department. We budget annually about $20,000. We went out for bids. If you remember, we discarded all the bids last time, and we came back and we felt like we got a better scenario with Petticourt Inc. at $14,500 per year for a 3-year period. So I think that's going to work out good. If anyone has any questions, I sure will try to answer them.
I'll motion to
Thanks.
approve.
Thanks, Ken.
Brian.
I'll second.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item D is reports and recommendations of officers, boards and commissions. The following items have been deemed non-controversial routine actions to be approved by the council in a single motion. If a council member or a member of the audience wishes to have an item removed from this list, it will be considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Item 1 is a motion to accept and place on file the city manager December reports for electric, wastewater, water, electric year-to-date and water year-to-date and the inspection. Motion to accept and place on file the police department report for November and December reports, and a motion to accept and place on file the fire department December report. How would you like to?
Move to approve collectively.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Are there any committee reports? We were wondering if we could do a work session on February 8th. That's something that this would be on the dispatch, because we wanted to do it sooner than later. So, and unfortunately, I won't be around on the 15th. So I was
I
wondering
don't
if
know
that's
that I'll be around on the 8th. I'll have to check.
okay.
I'm
So
good with
if I guess let Carol know. We'll send out a thing here. Is any day that week any good for anybody or not good? I guess it doesn't have to be the 8th. We can pick another night that week or something. Otherwise, we'd have to do it the week after, but after the 15th. So anyway, I guess Carol,
any,
you can.
any day that week works for me.
Okay.
So why don't you all email me what's available that week as far as evenings at 6 o'clock is probably when you were wanting to start it. And we'll see what night works best for everybody.
Okay. Any other items?
Just the budget work session was canceled on the 25th and gonna hold that after the regular meeting on February 1st. Just want to make sure everybody knows that.
Okay. So item F is closed sessions. Motion to meet in closed session to discuss the purchase, sale of a particular real estate only where premature disclosure could be reasonable or unexpected to increase the price the governmental body would have to pay for this property, as provided by Chapter 21.5J of the Code of Iowa. And 2 is a motion to meet in closed session to evaluate the performance of the city clerk, which is necessary to prevent needless and irreparable injury to that individual's reputation, and that individual requests a closed session as provided by Chapter 21.5I of the Code of Iowa. So call for a motion to go in a closed session.
So moved.
So moved.
Brian.
Matt,
Sounds like
second?
Yeah.
Okay.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. So we'll take a little break and we'll sign back in on the closed session.
Okay. Thanks.
See you, everybody.
All right. See you soon. Thanks.
Thank you.